welcome back to Straight Facts with myself and Lee Gunner. Hit the like button, subscribe, make sure bell notifications are turned on as well. Loads to talk about. Vlahovic to Chelsea, deal could even be advancing very soon. We're looking at the Lavia bid from Liverpool. Is the Caicedo deal off? Arsenal's transfers. A look ahead at the Community Shield as well, amongst other things. But Lee, first of all, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. Sun shining. And I'm breathing, so that's all good. No Top Gooners have got hold of me yet, so yeah, it's all good.
Well, yes. I always wonder if they're hanging around the street corners, looking for you, coming for you, or whatever it may be.
Well, I hope they don't find my house keys because I went out the other day and lost them, mate. That was crazy, man. I just tapped the neighbour up and jumped the balcony at 6 a.m. Yeah, I had to wake this old man up, bless him. But yeah. Hopefully they don't find the front door keys.
Thankfully, you didn't fall off a fucking balcony because that would have been.
I don't even know how I got home, mate. I was gone, literally gone.
Probably how you were able to do it as well. If you'd have been like sober, you probably I can't hang off a balcony. But when you've had a few jars, you're right. Not a problem. No nerves. We've all. I didn't get nicked, but the police turned up once when I was younger. Me and my brother left our keys indoors. My mum and dad had gone out. We got home from football. And we couldn't get in, and we left our bedroom window slightly open. We used to have this porch, so I climbed up onto the porch and then sort of stretched across, hung, then swung, hung off the window and climbed in. I'm halfway through climbing in, the police turned up, and they were like, we were like, no, we live here. We took them inside. We unlocked the door from inside, showed them pictures on the wall of us, like we live here, like it's our house. We're not breaking in. That was worry. That was a worry. But there we go. Lots to talk about today. The first thing I wanted to start on with was Liverpool. They've put another bid in for Lavia, but it's still well below the asking price that Southampton want. In fact, it's below the buyback clause that they currently have with City. Liverpool fans have been very vocal this year of calling out Arsenal, calling out Man United about not being serious because we haven't met valuations. They're just over a week away from the Premier League starting. Henderson gone and Fabinho gone. They still haven't bought the new DM in yet. Have they got to get a wiggle on here, Liverpool?
100%. And I don't think they're serious, if I'm being honest. Yeah, listen, they've signed some good players so far. McAllister, I think, is a quality footballer. Yeah, Sloboslai, we're going to see how decent he is. But from what we've seen previously, he looks half tidy. But, mate, they clearly want a DM, so just pay the money. Yeah, I'll say this about my club. Pay the money. I said it about Rice. Eventually, they're going to get near what Southampton want. So why they're longing it out? Yeah, like you said, a week before the season starts, you'd think that they'd want their players in as quick as possible to get them bedded into the method and the style of play that Klopp wants.
Yeah.
By longing it out, they're making themselves worse because they're going to go into the start of a season without a DM. Yeah, and that's no good for anyone. So, well, it's good for everyone else other than Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better for everyone else, but. They've got a decent attack line, probably one of the best attacks in the league in terms of how many goals they can get out of their 5 or 6 up front. But their midfield's been a problem for time. They've got rid of Fabinho and Henderson, but I don't think they've brought enough in. They definitely need a Lavia type in midfield, and I think they need another one as well. Because as soon as one of them 3 gets injured, which they will, what have they got in reserve? Not a lot. So, yeah, I don't think they're serious. Listen, Liverpool ain't been serious for a long, long time, mate. Yeah, and I wouldn't say overachieved because he's a good manager, but he did very well to keep them going year in, year out. Obviously, they didn't win it every year, but they've won all the cups domestically. They've won the Champions League. They've won the Premier League. But they've never built on that, and they've still not built on it. Yeah, if you go back to when they won the league, the team they've got now is worse. Miles worse. Yeah, they should have built from a position of strength. Instead, they ain't because they ain't serious. And Klopp is literally just morphed into a puppet for the ownership. Some of the stuff he comes out with in press conferences is crazy.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. This tweet came out today from Kudus, who comes on the football terrace quite a bit. And he said here that we went from Enzo, Jude, and Caicedo to Thuram and Kone to Lavia and some random kid in Brazil. And now they're telling us to lower our standards even more. Best part of it, I'm sure the fan base will compliment them on being shrewd. Big up FSG. I was going to ask you, like, you're someone that's quite outspoken about Ten Hag and Arteta being sort of puppets and that they should demand more. I assume with what you said, you think the same about Jurgen Klopp, that he's actually doing Liverpool fans a disservice by putting up with the underinvestment in his squad.
100%. He should be calling the club out. Yeah, he sat there talking about Mbappe or something yesterday. I think it was yesterday, saying that oh no, we're not on that financial level and blah blah blah. Mate, you're Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, you should be looking at players like Mbappe. Yeah, and that Kurdish tweet right there, absolutely spot on. Yeah, like Klopp should be sitting there calling the club out. Yeah, but the problem is because so many people are emotionally invested into Klopp because of what he's done previously, they'll just listen to what he says and go with it. Yeah, that tweet's spot on, absolutely spot on. Mate, we had this with Wenger for years. Yeah, oh, but it's Wenger, and they blindly back lowering of standards gradually over time, and eventually what happens is you go 20, 30 years without a title. Yeah, which is what Liverpool have done previously. Mate, they ain't going to win the league next season. Yeah, the season coming up, no chance. Yeah, because they haven't done enough to get there. Yeah, they might do well in Europa League, but that's it. They ain't going to win the league. No chance. Yeah, and the thing is, when you lower the standards constantly every single year, more and more people get invested into that lower standards, and now it's like a domino effect. Yeah, it spreads like cockroaches. Yeah, and eventually next year it'll be the same again. Then it'll be more people are joining, and all of a sudden he'll be there for another 4 or 5 years without winning anything.
Mate, listen, I think they've done. This is a crazy thing. This was a picture that was put into a tweet just 6 months ago by Liverpool fans, and they were expecting Caicedo, Bellingham, Enzo. That was what they were expecting. Now, I think McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Lavia are good players, very good players, and they can develop into a brilliant midfield. But the drop off and this wasn't Liverpool fans going, oh, maybe. This was what they expected, was that level of signing. It had almost been promised to them by the way they kept on sort of kicking the can down the street in terms of we'll invest soon, we'll invest soon, we'll invest soon. I think they're going to do a pretty good job with the midfield. The problem is they haven't improved the back line. And I think Liverpool fans are deluding themselves into believing that Van Dijk's going to get back to his very best. He's going to continue to decline from this point. I'm not yet convinced by Konate. I'm really not. Matip is over the hill and finished. Gomez isn't good enough. We know when it comes to Trent, when he's on the ball in the middle and attacking, one of the best playmakers in world football. Defensively, there are problems. And there's question marks over Robertson's future. Will he maintain? You got to remember that they were so good for 5, 6, 7 years, this team. It's hard to maintain that. They haven't invested yet in the back. They haven't looked to improve those areas. And I still think, and we'll be doing predictions on the Football Terrace next week, they're still in and around top 4 to top 5. I still think they'll make the Champions League, Liverpool. But that's a failure of a season by the standards that they got to under Klopp. And Klopp developed a team when they won that Premier League, and the year before were European champions. They managed to, in my opinion, at that point, they were better than Man City. Only marginally, but better than Man City. And instead of continual investment, they've just started, they've scraped the barrel some summers, they've lied to their fans. And I don't think they're making bad signings this summer. But there's so much more they need to be able to beat City to the title, to be able to get back in front of. Again, I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans recently talk about how they're confident of finishing in front of Arsenal. I don't see how. Arsenal have a superior team to Liverpool now. Liverpool got some players that could get into the Arsenal side, but as a team and a squad, I look at your midfield compared to theirs next year when you're going to have Rice, Partey, Odegaard. It doesn't even compare. And over a 38-game season, there's no way that midfield gets Liverpool ahead of you in the league, let alone beating Man City to this Premier League title. They needed to add more to it, and they haven't done that. And I just think that Liverpool fans should be happy with the 3 signings they're making, but they can't ignore the 2 or 3 summers of absolute neglect and lies from their ownership, and in turn their manager towards this squad, because it's negligence from how good they were. The fact that they were such a good team, they nearly won a quadruple, to losing so many top players and having not replaced them soon enough. I think it's going to be damaging for them. I really do.
100%. Yeah, and the amount of people that will come out and say, yeah, but it's not just about spending. Look at Chelsea. Mate, I get that every day when I talk about Arsenal. Yeah, but Chelsea did 600 million and they finished 12th. Yeah, and what? Nobody's talking about Chelsea, are they? Yeah, we're talking about Liverpool not investing enough. Just because Chelsea have gone and blown 600 million quid doesn't mean that if Liverpool did 600 million, they would get it wrong as well. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no correlation there. Yeah, but it's an easy thing for a fan to come out with that's fully on board the FSG. Like, if you ask any Liverpool fan, yeah, what do you think your owners? They all say they're crap. Yeah, well, Klopp's an enabler for the owner. Yeah, because he's sitting there doing the ownership's work publicly, being the puppet that's sitting there talking, lowering the standards. Yeah. And more and more people will jump on board, mate. It's Klopp. So they'll blindly back it. Oh, but look what he's done for the club. Look what he's done.
There's a comment here that says, Terry, you're just a Liverpool hater. Look, when Liverpool won the Champions League, won the Premier League, I spent about 3 seasons openly stating that I think you're the best team in England. At the beginning of last season, I predicted you to win the league. But then my mind has changed. By the way, I still think you could come third. You could still come fourth.
What part of factual information got him in his feelings? Yeah, factually, they ain't done enough to win the title. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly.
You can say that. It don't mean you're a hater.
Exactly. And I'm just going by the standards of Liverpool Football Club. And you haven't dropped off and had the worst decade in 40 years, or the worst 2 decades, if you look at Arsenal up until now, probably in your club's history, or at least that I know about. Liverpool have been on the best wave of form, achievements, victories that they have had as a football club for 30 plus years. To fall from that when, in that time, your new shirt sponsorship deals came in, the new deal with Nike came in, the expanded stadium, which meant more income, came in, TV money has gone up. For all these things to happen and for you to fail to invest, Liverpool fans should be calling this out 110%. It's not hate on your football club. You know, Maradon says use your logic for every club, Terry. But you can't use the same logic on every club, because not every club is run the same. Not every club has the same squad. Not every club is buying the same standard of player. Not every club plays the same style of football. So you can't have the same logic on every member of the top 6 in Newcastle, because there are fundamental differences between all the clubs. I can treat them all equally, but I can't treat them all exactly the same or hold the same opinions on each club. And like I've said, I think the players you're signing in midfield are great, but I don't believe they're enough to win you the league this year.
No, and then it's not like they signed Jude Bellingham, which they all believed they were going to sign, by the way. Yeah, Tchouaméni was another one. Yeah, they were on him all of the start of the summer. They've been going, oh, we're going to get Tchouaméni, we're going to get Tchouaméni. Now you're getting Lavia. Yeah, as good as Lavia may be, yeah, is he Liverpool standard to start every game, week in, week out for Liverpool? He just got relegated with Southampton after 1 season. That's his first ever season in Premier League football. So I said the same when we were linked to him. Yeah, I'd take him, but he can't be starting every week. Yeah, now he's going to walk into Liverpool's midfield as the Fabinho replacement. That's crazy.
And this is what I would say. Again, I think he's going to turn into a brilliant player. I think if he'd have joined Man United as an example, Lavia, it's a great move because Caicedo's there. There's time for him to be nurtured and developed. Lavia's got to come straight in and try and run the midfield for Liverpool Football Club. That is huge pressure for a kid. And he's going, listen, no matter how good he is, and I think he's going to do well this season, he's going to have a number of games where he isn't quite it, because he's inexperienced. There is no player of his age in world football who doesn't have bad games and inconsistencies. All young players do. And when you're in midfield or defense or in goal and you have inconsistencies, it stands out massively. And Liverpool fans have got to be prepared for this. In my opinion, without replacing his experience, they shouldn't have allowed Henderson and Fabinho to go. And if they did, they've got to spend on that. They've got to go out and buy a more experienced midfielder. You know, Man United are trying to get who they should have gone and got is Amrabat, or maybe they still will. You add an Amrabat to that team, different scenario, experience, top quality, good on the ball, enables Lavia to go through some poor patches, and you've still got quality to come in. Because if Lavia's going for a poor patch, who they got? Bajcetic, who's just as inexperienced. You know, Terry's predictions are dramatic. They change as the season progresses. Well, of course they do. So let me give you an example of Chelsea. If Chelsea kick off in a game against Arsenal and you predict Chelsea to win the game, but at halftime it's 2-0 to Arsenal, your prediction may change on who wins that game. Everybody's predictions change over the course of the season because there's always a shock. There's always a shock in terms of teams being better or worse.
This is the thing, though, Terry, right? At the start of the season, everyone will have their prediction of where they think their team's going to finish, right? But then halfway through the season, they will change based on where they are in the league at Christmas, right? But this is where fans I have an issue with at times, because their expectation at the start of the season may be top 4, finish first, whatever it may be. At halfway point, them expectations may change, but then at the end of the season, let's say they finished 5th and they wanted 4th, there'll be no accountability. But they're allowed to change their minds all the way through the season. But then they still use the same expectations that they have at the start and never stick to them and hold their club accountable. Yeah, if I say Arsenal should get top 4 this season, but then they finish 5th, but at Christmas they're 2nd. Yeah, well, I'm still going to say they should get top 4, right? But then at the end of the season, we finish 5th, then I'm going to hold that accountable and say, well, actually, by my logic and my prediction, we failed.
You hold people account, but again, it works 2 ways. That's why it has to be fluid. Terry's dramatically wrong all the time. Well, that's not true, though, is it? So last year,
I was coming for you today, Tel. You've rattled everyone.
Last year, I was wrong that Liverpool would win the league. That was dramatically wrong. But the season before, when I predicted Liverpool to catch City and win the league, when they were like 12 points behind and they missed out by 1 point, that's not dramatically wrong. That isn't dramatically wrong. Predicting Arsenal to win the league when they were 8 points clear and they missed out by 5 points. That's not dramatically wrong. Dramatically wrong would be Arsenal were going to win the league and they finished 4th.
I'll tell you what was dramatically wrong when I said Chelsea would finish above Arsenal. That was dramatically wrong. Hey, that cost me 200 quid to the geezer in the chat. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it did. Carl B.
By the way.
Big up, Lee. Always enjoy you on the terrace is what Steve Runs says here.
Big up, my bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean Smith, for the becoming a member. I appreciate that. This year from Sarim Iqbal, one of our Liverpool fans and members, Klopp is the 3rd highest paid manager in the world. Of course, he'll never call the club out. He's not willing to lose that money.
Spot on, mate. Yeah, spot on. And this is the same when Wenger was at Arsenal. Highest paid manager on the planet is always going to back the Cronkies. Always. Yeah, we can't compete financially. Well, Klopp's saying the same thing now. We can't compete financially, but he can because he's the 3rd best manager in the world financially. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he's morphed into Wenger, mate. I'm telling you. And the Liverpool fans have got a harsh reality coming to them because they will back it and back it and back it until maybe 3 years down the road when they'll go, right, enough's enough now. Yeah, and then they'll have fans fighting in the ground. Yeah, okay, it's going to be another Arsenal situation. Klopp in, Klopp out. I'm telling you, mate.
Thank you very much to Tay here for becoming a member as well. I've already done this super chat from Chelsea Predictive. I appreciate it. I would disagree with you, but I appreciate it. Roms actually was in the comment section a minute ago, and I didn't star it, but I need to because again, it's a Liverpool fan saying this, and I always like to mix the good with the bad. We put a few negative ones up, but Rom says, "Spot on, lads. What's worrying is once we get a 6, that's it in my opinion. I can't see us signing a centre back, which would be tragic. We're a Kanate injury away from falling apart." And this is true. And listen, Liverpool might start playing and my mind will change. But even in your run of like 9 wins in the last 11 games last year, Liverpool fans, you were still conceding in a number of those games too many chances, too many openings, defenders being out of position, caught under the ball. If that doesn't improve dramatically and you don't buy new centre-backs, again, you might remember, it's easy to make the Champions League this year. Top 5 will do it because of England's coefficiency. However...
top 5?
Yeah, top 5, yeah. So basically...
5 teams can qualify for Champions League.
From the league.
That's mad.
So the way it works, Lee.
So we don't even need to get full for Arsenal anymore. Then
no. So essentially, the way it works is it's not 100%, but at the moment it will work. So the 2 leagues in Europe with the highest coefficient points collectively, which I think currently stands as Spain and England. If the top 5 teams all qualify for the Champions League, but say for instance, Italy get loads of finals and winners of European football for a few years, we might drop out of it. It doesn't matter. So it's not a guarantee, but as far as coefficient points stand right now, yeah, if you come 5th in England, you're going to make it. However, it's still failure for a team like Liverpool to be 5th in the league. It's not, especially if they're nowhere near the top.
He should have been sacked at the end of last season. Yeah, no joke. I said that to you on this show. I said he should be sacked. He should have been sacked. Yeah, and that just shows they're not a serious football club. Yeah, and it shows their family. Like, there'll be Liverpool fans in the chat now going, "What do you mean sack him? Look what he's done for the club. Yeah, you can't just sack him off for 1 bad season." Blah, blah, blah. You can. It's Liverpool Football Club, mate. Yeah, the standards of Liverpool Football Club have been set, and he failed last season. Yeah, he was part of the reason the standards have been set. I get that. But he failed. They were getting spanked every week. Literally. And then they went on a little run at the end, yeah, which made the season look not as bad as it actually was. Yeah, and it's a masterclass. He's putting Trent into midfield. Okay, mate, Trent's supposed to be able to defend, and he can't. Yeah, what did the manager do all season to rectify that? Nothing, apart from actually we're throwing in midfield for the last 9 games. Like, I mean, come on. Yeah, he should have been gone, mate. Yeah, but they won't sack him. Yeah, because he's doing what the club want him to do. Yeah, just spreading low standards, keep it low, Let's not get over and above ourselves. You know, we can't compete for Mbappe. We can't compete financially for players. We're not shopping in that market. Mate, do you know how much money Liverpool make? Like, they've got one of the highest incomes in world football. Probably, I think they're in the top 3 or 4.
Couldn't agree with you more on that. All the big clubs make money. This here says, afternoon, Terry and Lee. I'm with you both. All Liverpool had to buy since winning the Champions League, but buy 2 players a season, say 150 million a season spend. Yeah, I hear you, bro. Honesty here says, Klopp just said in an interview he is still looking for players to join, but he also is looking at what you have. We got money to buy, but we don't spend, is what he says here. And
yeah, but why? Why don't you spend? You don't spend because the manager ain't putting enough pressure on the owner to spend. Klopp knows he ain't got enough to win the league this season. Yeah, he's sitting there smiling and joking in a press conference. Sorry, mate, what are you laughing at? Yeah, your team is not capable of winning the title with what you currently have. So why aren't you actively kicking off? Yeah, and saying, well, actually, I need this. Like, if we lose this defender who's been injured last season, there's a chance he's going to be injured again in Konate. As soon as we lose him, we're all over the place. We need another centre back. They should have been going in for the who's the fella that just signed for Bayern Munich?
Kim.
That's it, Kim. Yeah, they should have been in for him.
Mate,
perfect Van Dijk replacement.
I couldn't agree with you more. This here says, from Studio Hooks, will having a 5th Champions League spot cause complacency?
Yep, 100%. It's a joke that it's even a thing. Yeah, if top 4 is even a joke, it should be the winner gets in. It's called the Champions League. Yeah, you can finish 5th in your league and get in. That makes no sense. Yeah, go back to how it used to be when it was the European Cup. Yeah, you had to win your title to get into that competition, and it was genuinely Champions League. Now it's all about the money. Yeah, let's have 5 teams from England in there because more eyes will be on it. It's ridiculous.
That's exactly what they'll do that for. FSG are going to make us a top 8 club. FSG out.
Well, you go back to the level you was when Klopp first joined them, wouldn't you?
Big up to 2 people that talk facts about football. Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate that a lot. This here says, Chelsea fan here. Lee is probably one of the most knowledgeable YouTubers on this platform. Wow. Goated Arsenal fan. Cheers from the US of A.
Big up my number 1 fan in America, Harris. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm not going to attempt. I'm not going to attempt to say the surname. Constantidis. I don't know.
Constantidis. Come on, my Greek Cypriot names are amazing.
There we go. We've got some Arsenal stuff to come later. I want to ask about Chelsea. Chelsea today.
Chelsea.
And there's a weird one. It's not a weird deal for me. They're looking at a swap deal or a player plus cash deal for Vlahovic. Juve want to do it. Vlahovic wants to do it. But Chelsea are not decided if they want to. And there's a lot of Chelsea fans that don't want Vlahovic at Chelsea. But how good a deal, in your opinion, would this be for Chelsea to bring this young striker in?
I agree with the Chelsea fans that don't want him. Yeah, he's absolutely garbage. Yeah, I actually did a video last night on the other channel, my second channel, and I said, is it actually an upgrade on Lukaku? Like, let's be real with it. Is it actually an upgrade? Yes, I know Lukaku don't want to be at Chelsea, but his output is literally 1 in 2 at every club he's been at, albeit he has only won 1 FA Cup in his entire league career or domestic career in England, which was 11 years ago he won that cup. He's never won a trophy since. Yeah, so his goals have led to nothing, a bit like Harry Kane.
Did he win that with Chelsea? Did he actually play?
2012. I think he did actually. Yeah, I think he played the cup games, not the league. I may be wrong, or he played the league and a couple of cup games. I can't remember. Yeah, it was 11-12 season, I think. Yeah, but he hasn't actually won a trophy in England since. But if you look at his goals, he has got a decent goal scoring record. Now go and look at Vlahovic. Yeah, the guy was smashing him in at Fiorentina, gets his big money move to Juve, and has done absolutely nothing. Yeah, now he's going to come to England, half his goals straight away. Yeah, because that's how it works roughly. We went through this last week. Half the goals, he's going to flop massively, and I don't think he's an upgrade. Yeah, at least with Lukaku, like, he'll have a fight with you. He'll rough you up and stuff. Like, no, he'll probably thrive on that, like bullying people. Is this Vlahovic going to bully anyone? Is he going to be able to bully Van Dijk? Like, defenders like that? I don't see it. Is he going to bully Saliba? Is he going to bully Varane? I don't think so. Listen, he's got half decent movement, but I don't think he's going to be able to score enough goals that is going to get Chelsea doing anything. So I totally agree. Listen, the amount of money that's going to cost them in terms of giving Lukaku to them. Yeah, Lukaku's valued at what, 40 mil, 30 mil? Yeah. Now the cash that they're going to have to pay on top, plus all the wages they're going to have to pay him, might as well just go and buy Kane. Guarantees you 30 goals. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think he's that good.
Yeah, I've always rated Vlahovic until he went to Juve, and I just don't think it's. I mean, he really should have gone to Arsenal. I think he would have killed it there. But sometimes people move too early. He just doesn't. I watched him probably play about 5 or 6 times last season, and he was a weird player. There were moments where I went, "Oh, that looks good," and then there were times where I thought, "I'm not too sure." But then Juve was such a mess last season. It's also hard to judge per se. Sometimes players can just change teams and move elsewhere and be better. But yeah, a lot of Chelsea fans online are not happy.
Di Maria smashed it last season at Juve.
True.
Yeah, Di Maria was one of their best players, if not their best player all season. So I know they were up and down. 1 minute they were second in the league, then they were down in 12th. Then they were back up to 3rd and back down to 9th. Like, it was crazy. They kept getting points added on and taken off. But there was still good performance in that team. Yeah, I just don't think he's it, mate. Yeah, I really don't. Like, he's pretty quick. I wouldn't say he's rapid, but Lukaku's pretty quick. Yeah, he can hold the ball up. Okay, well, so can Lukaku. Yeah, he's got a better first touch than Lukaku. Yeah, but he can't spin a defender like Lukaku can. Yeah, and let's be real. Yeah, he ain't gonna have the output that Lukaku will.
What do you make? What do you make of this here? This says from Rego Park says offloading toxic Lukaku is paramount. No club wants him. Vlahovic will be back up to Jackson, and he's only 23. Room to grow. Well,
age shouldn't come into it, mate. Yeah, but listen, Lukaku, you've got to get rid of him. I totally get that. Yeah, you've got to get rid of him. Yeah, the guy's a drama. And like I said, like I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and I said he is pound for pound the worst Premier League player of all time. If you add up his transfer fees, yeah, and how much money he's earned, it's £250 million. In just the Premier League, like around the Premier League, and that it's cost 250 million. It cost you lot 75. It cost Chelsea 100. Yes,
by the way, I just looked here. He didn't win that. He wasn't in that team in 2012. He didn't play. He wasn't
won nothing in domestic football in England. And
in England, yeah. So, let me read. Let me read this out to you. In England, runner-up for the FA Cup with Man United, and runner-up for the Super Cup, the UEFA Super Cup. Man United. For Chelsea, he won. He was part of the team that won the World Club Championship in 2001, but he was runner-up in the FA Cup in 2022, runner-up in the League Cup, and runner-up in the Super Cup in 2013. For Inter, he won Serie A, he won the Coppa Italia, but again, runner-up in the UEFA Cup final, runner-up in the Champions League final. This man is a serial runner-up.
Yeah, and look how much money he's cost teams, mate. It's mad. Oh. Yeah, this guy has been absolutely robbing a living, but I still think he's better than Vlahovic. Yeah, and listen, Dusan Vlahovic is 23 years old, yeah? Right? No disrespect, that is not a baby. That is not a kid. Yeah, Messi was winning Ballon d'Ors at that age. Yeah, like, come on. Yeah, I know Messi's probably the wrong example to use because he's like mad, but 23 years old, you've been playing professional football for 4 or 5 years at a high level, and you're still not that good. Yeah, and then it'd be, oh, but it's his first season in the Premier League. Well, now he's 24. Then it'd be, oh, yeah, now he's 25. All of a sudden, his career's going the same way as Lukaku's.
Yeah, I think whatever Vlahovic does next, it has to be the right move. He can't move to a chip. The one thing I would say about the deal, my personal, I think Vlahovic is better than you're saying he is. However, the one worry I would have if I was Vlahovic is the Chelsea board and transfer committee and Poch have already said no once this summer already. For them to change their minds, the fear would be that's a really weird. If Man United and Ten Hag sat down in May and said Amrabat's not the guy, and then come August we go, okay, we'll buy him, that would worry me. That would be the one concern. So it's not about whether you think he's got good ability or bad ability. The manager has already once said, no, I don't think he's the guy. I would love to ask, and it's hard to get the truth out of any football club in that scenario because they would always try and play it down. But I'd love to understand what changed your mind. Because what changed your mind has to be a footballing reason and not a financial reason or we needed a striker. That's how Man United ended up with players like Fred. The manager wanted a better midfielder, but that's all we could get him. And that kind of just settling is a bit of a problem. So I would say that would be my personal concern. DJ here says, Judo, there's Lee.
Go to quickly, yeah.
All right, mate. We'll come back to what DJ said in a minute. Go on, shoot off, bro, and I'll do some of these super chats while you are there. This says Vlahovic is a poor man's Harry Kane, but he's a Poch player. He will smash it, is what Carl says. That's a fair opinion, my friend. I think Vlahovic is good. He's a player that if Man United were linked to, I wouldn't have been upset about. I like him. Do I think he's as good as a Kane? No. But who is? How many number 9s in the world right now are as good at Kane at all the top attributes that he has? The answer is very, very few indeed. This year, I've always been skeptical of buying players from these leagues. When Arsenal were linked, I wasn't too sure on him. I want Arsenal to go for Tony. I know that Lee agrees with that. Lee absolutely loves Tony. I know a lot of people rate him. And I think if he was available this summer, he'd be involved in some big conversations around transfers as well, my friend. The ones that are kind of responding to Lee, I'll wait for Lee to come back. Honesty here says, on centre-back reports are coming out. Even Neil Jones said Klopp wants a defender. And on Lavia here in Belgium, we rate him. We don't talk about his age. And look, I get that you rate Lavia, and I think he's really good as well. But I'm just pointing out, like Man United, look, we're gonna bring through Mainu this year. So unfortunate he's been injured. And I said that I wanted us to go for Lavia. Watched Mainu a few times in pre-season, and my personal feeling is I don't want to spend the money on Lavia. Because for me, I'd rather get Amrabat and Caicedo there and nurture our own talent that could potentially be as good. I don't think we need to spend that in on him. Your situation is different. But Mainu and Lavia and Caicedo for Chelsea, by the way, these youngsters will be inconsistent because young players, all of them, even go back and look at R9 and Messi, who to most people are looked at as the two greatest footballers ever. But go back and look at Zidane and Ronaldinho and Paul Scholes and whoever else at 20 to 21 years of age and younger, inconsistency existed in every single one of them, no matter how good they were. Every now and then you get like this, a Haaland or an Mbappe or an R9 who is ridiculous at 18, 19. Michael Owen was one, Rooney was another. But you're probably talking about 10 footballers off the top of your head that have been that good at that age in 40 years. They're rarities. They are rocking horse shit. So they're not the rule. They're the exception. So that's all I'm saying. I think Lavia is a very, very good player though, my friend. Wow. A huge super chat here from Gunner Down Under. Thank you very much. It says much love and support, my mans. Keep the great content coming. Thank you. That's a ridiculous level super chat. Thank you very, very much indeed. I appreciate that massively. We're going to come back to more super chats in a minute because I want to leave this one up on the screen to thank him. But I want to ask you, there's more and more noise now, barring Fabrizio, and we all know that he's had some community strikes recently on Twitter.
That's it.
Yeah, so the deal where he said, here we go, the medical started for Guardi out of City, Twitter have now put a community note underneath saying that this isn't true.
Oh, that's funny, man.
I felt bad for him because it's
that's too funny. Do you know what, right? I want to say something here. I like Fabrizio. I was the first Arsenal channel to have him on my channel years ago, yeah? Right? But I just want to say this, right? When you signed a Nana, you hadn't signed him at this point, you'd had the second bid rejected. I started to change my opinion, right? Because he put a tweet out saying, second bid's rejected, still in talks, but be sure, in capitals, or saying, the deal will be done. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. How do you know the deal will be done unless it's done? Yeah, because what if somebody else comes in and says to Inter, is an extra 10 million? Well, now he's going there, isn't he? Because now they've had a bid accepted. At that point, Man United had 2 rejected. But next week, be sure the deal will happen. Well, it's already done then. They're just longing it out, these people, man. I swear down that deal was done. And the same with that Vardy. That deal was done. Yeah, but it's just longing it out, making it look like, oh, my God, Man United got over the line. Man City, that's really good. Look, they're really bullying these Italian teams. And, it's just
bro, when I was younger, early 90s, early 2000s, DVD players came out. And there is a point to this story. A friend of mine's dad worked for Sony. And we were all like, I remember we were around my friend's house and we all said, I'll ask my dad for one for Christmas and whatever else. And his dad came in and said, don't get one now. Why? He said they're ridiculous. And the first DVD players that came out were like £400 or £500. And this was 20 odd plus years ago. He went, in the next 3 to 4 years, there'll be recordable DVD players and they'll become really, really cheap. They'll become really cheap because they've already developed Blu-ray. So it was like, don't buy it now. There's barely anything available on DVD. Just don't do it. Wait, bide your time type thing. But he says that companies won't just go to the new technology. They'll just slowly release every year to 18 months, new DVD, all the way until they release the new best technology. But the new technology that comes out in 5 years' time is always nearly invented when they're releasing the other stuff. Does that make sense? But they said if they just went from what they have to the next version, all those new editions wouldn't come out and the money wouldn't come out. And journalists do this same thing sometimes, where I think they know it's going to happen, but it's like, well, let's write a story Monday, story Tuesday, story Wednesday, story Thursday, story Friday, and release it slowly. Sometimes I think they do that, but yeah, no, it always reminds me of my dad's friends. Like, don't buy one now because better ones are coming. And the basic ones. And what you also said, this is so true as well. He said all the ones that come out now, pirate DVDs won't work on them because the way they do the lasers. He says all the cheap ones that are going to come out in a year or two will work. And my dad was dumb enough. He went and bought a brand new Kenwood one for us for Christmas, right? This thing cost about 350 quid. All the pirate DVDs that cost 20, like £1, wouldn't work on it. Legit. $9.99 DVD player from Tesco's, they all worked on. So it was like a $9.99 one with better value than that. But there we go.
I've upset somebody in the chat. I have no presentation etiquette, mate. This ain't Sky Sports, mate. This is the Football Terrace. If you're looking for a professional guest, go and watch Sky Sports. I just say what I think, mate. Real talk. Stop bringing this guy to your program. How about just don't watch it on a Tuesday at 3:30? How about that, mate?
There we get. Nathaniel here says Poch likes Vlahovic and did say he's open to more additions in the front line, and a board member really likes him. Anyway, to get Lukaku off the books, I'm all for that. Guy is a parasite. A fair play for letting us know that, Nathaniel. It was good to learn new things. Lee, would you still take Vlahovic over Lukaku? I would still take Vlahovic over Lukaku. Being 23 years old, I think he will do well for us.
I have such a problem with people constantly mentioning age. Nobody talks about Erling Haaland's age. Why? Because he bags goals. Yeah. He's 23 and what? Like, I don't mean to be rude to the guy. Yeah, because I know, like, I'm not trying to be a mug about it. But age only comes up to make out that the player is somehow going to blossom into the world-class striker or player that you think they are. Yeah, it's only used as a tool by people to go, oh, yeah, but he's only 23, which means straight away he ain't good enough. Because the fact that you're even using that and then putting his age in, oh, but he's only 23, tells me he ain't good enough. Yeah, because you ain't going to say about Harry Kane, oh, but he's 30. Like,
I hear you on that. I hear you on that. I wanted to mention as well, before we move on to other clubs, there's a lot of talk that the Caicedo deal could be off. And one of the updates we saw in the last few days about this is that Chelsea could be looking at Edson Alvarez again. Tyler Adams could be an addition instead. If they end up with a Tyler Adams or an Alvarez instead of Caicedo, how damaging do you think that will be for Chelsea's season?
Massive. I don't understand why they ain't got the deal done. Like,
well, the reason is Brighton are refusing to accept anything less than 100 million. That's essentially
we've known this since January. We were in the same position. We knew it was 100 million January. Yeah, and let's be real with it. Declan Rice went for 105. Yeah, Enzo went for 106. So I understand why Brighton want 100 mil for him. Yeah, we all know he's not worth 100 million, but he's worth what somebody's prepared to pay for him. Yeah, and if Chelsea don't want to go that extra 10 million, well, sorry, that's pathetic. Yeah, I think they bid like 80 something million, didn't they? Yeah, they should be doing 100 million. They should put an extra 20 on top. It'll put him next to Enzo, and that's a decent midfield. Yeah, with Nkunku in front of him, that's a quality midfield. Yeah, so I don't understand why they're doing it. They've got rid of so many players off their wages. They can afford them. They can afford the fee anyway. Don't understand why they're haggling over 20 million quid. Just pay it.
They've got to get it. They've got to get it. I think if they go down that level, drop a level to Tyler Adams. Again, it's not like catastrophic for their season, but a lot of the predictions that I've kind of made when people have asked me the questions or I hear from Chelsea fans is based on getting Caicedo. If you don't have him, I think it changes a lot of what Chelsea might be able to do next year.
And the thing is, he's a quality player as well. Yeah, and Enzo's a quality player. And you put them both together, I think they complement each other well. Both got different attributes. Yeah, Enzo's got miles better passing accuracy and range of pass. Yeah, but Caicedo will run around doing all the donkey work. Yeah, and I think they'll complement each other so well. Yeah, and I don't understand what their problem is. They've got rid of so many players out of that football club. They've got probably halved the wage bill with the players they've got rid of. They've got big fees back in for some of their players, Mason Mount, Havertz, etc. They're going to get Lukaku off the wages. Yeah, that's huge. He's on about 300 grand a week. I understand what the problem is. It's totally weird that they're doing that when they went out in the last 12 months and done 600 million just like that. Bang, 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 bang. And now they don't want to pay an extra couple of quid for him.
Mate, it is a little strange, but I've had the strangest comment of the day come in. Terry never challenges Lee. Man, that's just the biggest lie. That's the biggest lie since Tony.
We had arguments and they've been clipped up, and you've put them out on the clips channel. Like, come on, mate.
Bro, that's the biggest lie since Tony Blair told the world about weapons of mass destruction. Like, that's the biggest lie since then. I've not seen a bigger lie than that. That's the maddest comment I've ever seen in my life. Lee, where do you think Liverpool will finish this season?
As it stands with the squad you've got now, I think, I don't know, it's difficult. I'm going to say fourth.
Yeah, right now with Liverpool, I'd probably put them in fourth as well. I would agree with that as things. So they'll be like, well, you said they were bad earlier. No, I said they're not going to win the league, but I still think they'll come high. They've still got some very good players. Lee, I'm told I'm negative. I want success and FSG won't allow it. If they won't give Klopp the money, they won't give it to another FSG out.
Agree. Totally agree. Mate, you're always going to get told you're negative if you're going against the masses that are just blindly back anything. Literally, every single person that I speak to that's Liverpool, they don't like their owner. Yeah, but then they sit there, yeah, and pander down to the manager who's enabling the owner to carry on doing what he's doing. Yeah, Klopp never calls him out. Yeah, Klopp always makes excuses. Yeah, the amount of excuses that guy comes out with. He's a great manager. I'm not knocking him as a manager, yeah, in terms of what he's doing on the pitch, but some of the crap he comes out with. Yeah, and like, I don't know. In the last couple of years, they went from nearly doing a quad to him sitting there pissing himself laughing every time a goal got conceded. Yeah, like, let's be real. The camera pans in on him and he does that stupid laugh every time a goal goes in. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But when I laugh when my team are conceding goals, I'm negative and toxic. When Klopp's literally doing it as the manager of the club. Do you know what I mean?
Liverpool fan here says, playing the lead drinking game right now. I'm already drunk. We haven't even got on to Arsenal. Felix here says Chelsea, will improve from 2022-23 season, but with new untested Premier League players, they need time to gel. Fifth Champions League play stroke domestic cup is a good season. Caicedo not worth 100 million. Brighton's heads stony like their beach. Big up Lee and Terry.
Caicedo's not worth 100 million. Yeah, what footballer is worth 100 million? Like, they're all overpaid. They're all overrated. Yeah, they're all overhyped. Yeah, there's only a handful of players on the planet you can genuinely say, yeah, they're quality, they're worth the money. The rest of them are all overrated and overpaid.
I hear you on that.
It's the way football is, isn't it?
This here says, for me, it's Caicedo or bust. No point to buy an absolute bum in Tyler Adams. Do me a favor, we're Chelsea, not Burnley. I think that's a fair point.
It's spot on.
If Klopp has a similar start to last season, should he be sacked?
Yep. He should have been sacked anyway. Should have been sacked for last season. Yeah, I remember when Brendan Rodgers nearly won the league. Yeah, I think he was sacked by October the following season. Yeah, when Liverpool used to have a little bit of a ruthless streak.
I hear you. Terry, if United sold close to 100 million in players, would you rather Amrabat and Kane or Caicedo and a defender? Amrabat and Kane. Amrabat and Kane, I would go for of those two options, my friend. But thank you. A lot of people are obsessed with XG and whatever other nonsense. The only thing you need is eyes to tell you a player is either good, average, or the next potential best thing. Big up team.
I agree.
I agree to an extent. I think that certain stats back up claims, but on the XG thing and GA, so I've seen foul compilations go around today of Rasmus Hojlund. And it's the weirdest foul compilation because it's him getting into amazing positions, great hold-up play, turning people. But getting himself through on goal, but the goalie saving it or him hitting the post or just going narrowly wide. And I'm like, you then check the accounts of these people, and they're people that rave about XG. And I'm like, well, the XG on him is really good, right? But suddenly you don't care about the XG. You're just showing him missing some good opportunities. But the foul compilation actually shows him to be a very technically proficient football player. It's like you should have done foul compilation with bad touches and stuff. That would have been a better look. But you made him look better, really, in my personal opinion. But I hear you.
Somebody in the chat, sorry to cut you off. Somebody in the chat said GA is how a Saka should be judged. Load of rubbish. Yeah, it shouldn't be anything to do with assists. Yeah, that is one of the worst stats ever in football. Oh, he got an assist. Yeah, does anyone know who got the assist for Henry's solo goal against Tottenham?
No,
Patrick Vieira, and he was in his own box. Yeah, I'm saying, but he gets an assist for that.
I hear you. Marad on here says, Terry, you don't agree. You hate the eye test. You're a stat merchant, but that's not true, is it? It's not true at all. It's about
all on news today, mate. I
know they are, but it's because Maradon the moron, I call him, because he always just makes stuff up. But it's like where I disagree with the eye test is if somebody says to me, "Oh, you know," I'm gonna make up an example here. Somebody says Robertson is a better crosser of the ball than Trent, and I'm like, how? I say, how is he? Well, he finds his targets more. He creates more chances from his crosses. If my eye test disagrees and then the stats back me up, your opinion of based on what you see doesn't. I don't take your eye test seriously because what I see and the stats behind it don't back up your claim. If somebody says, "Oh, Amrabat doesn't win the ball back enough," but statistically you can see, and with your eyes you can see that he wins it back. He's in the top 5 percentile of players in terms of winning the ball back. Your eye test is wrong. So that's all I ever say about the eye test is it should be backed up, especially certain positions. You can't, for instance, say my goalie's got great distribution and he's got 40% pass completion. That don't make sense. Like that's where you're lying, right?
I see that stupid stat about your goalkeeper the other day. He conceded 2 goals, yeah, and then there was a stat doing the rounds. There are loads of stats on one tweet. 95% pass accuracy. Nobody cares, mate. Yeah, like you're passing to a centre back and dinking it into midfield.
But equally, he
passes, I think, was on the list as well. Well, he ain't going to pass backwards, is he? It's going to go in the goal. It's like, what is going on here? Yeah, the fact is, and then your manager, by the way, came out after that game. Who was it he played against? I think it was Real Madrid. Yeah, when Hojlund scored the bicycle kick. Yeah, it was that game, right? And your manager came out after that game and said, "Oh yeah, it was a good performance from Onana and he did his job." Well, no, he didn't. He conceded 2 goals, mate. Like nobody picks up on that.
Well, I think what I would say about it is certain goals are not goalkeepers' faults. If the shot's very, very good, or in an area, you know, or you know, the chip was good. I mean, the first goal was offside, so it didn't even matter. Should be in a normal game of football now, it's ruled out. The second goal, we're pushing hard for an equaliser, so we've got loads of space at the back. Brandon Williams, who's going to leave the club, he's not a main defender of the team. He got caught under the ball, which enabled the overhead kick, and it went into the bottom of the corner. The goalie couldn't have saved it. So I wouldn't necessarily blame every goal that's conceded on a goalkeeper. You know, Ramsdale's goal, for instance, the Ramsdale goal, Bruno scored. I can understand why people would say that's his fault because he got a hand to it and it wasn't strong enough. But yeah, some goals aren't goalkeepers' fault.
He was at fault as well. We should have saved the Sancho one. It's near post. You get taught as a 5-year-old, don't get beaten at your near post. Yeah, so he was obviously in the wrong position as Sancho went to take the strike. So that's his fault.
What was your view on Onana shouting at Maguire? Right or wrong?
Oh, that was hilarious. The way he run at him was funny, man. It was like a Benny Hill sketch. But no, he should be like he should be doing that. Listen, David De Gea, was a great goalkeeper for Man United. Yeah, but ultimately he didn't command his box enough. Yeah, good at saving shots. Well, that's his job. Whoopee. Yeah, well done. Yeah, but ultimately, in and around the penalty box, you want your goalkeeper to be dominant. You want your goalkeeper to be vocal, and you want your goalkeeper to actually put you at ease. Yeah, and the only way he's going to do that is by shouting at these players. Yeah, because Harry Maguire is brain dead. Yeah, defensively. Let's just be real with it. Yeah, he is an absolute liability as a defender. So listen, he might not be there by the season starting. But whilst he is there and he is playing, then damn right he should be telling him.
I look at it this way. I didn't.
And I like the confidence because he's only just walked in there, and that's the former captain.
I was encouraged by it, and the way it's been twisted into a negative, I think, is some of the worst football analysis I've seen. Plus, the over-analyzing of preseason is also it's a disease in football. It's the over-analyzing is a madness. I get there's elements you analyze, there's elements you criticize, there's elements you praise. But people have reacted to some, not just Man United's games. People have reacted to certain teams' preseason games like it's a Champions League final, and it's very strange to me. We've got some more super chat.
I disagree. Yeah, you shouldn't be going out to win every game. I've seen people moaning that Lisandro Martinez. Oh yeah, look at him. Yeah, he's kicking players, mate. It's Arsenal Man United. Whether that's a friendly game or not, it's never gonna be. You're not gonna go out there and go, oh, actually, I won't dive in for a tackle just in case I hurt you, and it's a friendly game. Don't do that. If you do that, go and play a different sport. Watch a different sport.
I know. I hear what you're saying in relation to that. What I mean is that pre-season's a time where, for instance, the reason I don't judge it as a real game is, can you give me an example in a big Premier League or big Champions League game where on the 50th minute there's 11 substitutes made, both teams?
No.
So the point is, you're creating an unnatural phenomenon within a game that doesn't exist. You ruin the flow. New players come on. Managers, this is the best time to try out a new formation. So I look at it as there are elements of preseason games that are not normal. So to judge it like a completely normal game is wrong.
However, I get that,
and that's what I'm saying. There's elements of it that you do. So when Lisandro's making those tough tackles, I'm like, that's what I want to see. I'm not happy if a player doesn't track back. I'm not happy with a bad pass. However, if we try a new system or a player in a different role and it doesn't quite work, I'll criticize it, but I'm not going to start panicking about what that means for the season. So that's what I mean. Like, I think there's
I understand that, but you still, I understand about the subs and all that, but you still got to go out there and you want to win. You want to beat your opponent. Yeah, I watched El Clasico the other day, Barca Madrid. Mate, some of the tackles flying in that game were mad. Yeah, but that's how it should be. It's an El Clasico. Yeah. Oh, by the way, how good is Jude Bellingham? What a baller! Yeah, absolute baller.
He looks ridiculous. He really does. We've got some more super chat. Yeah, we've got some super chats here. First one says, "I will explain my wild take once I set up my own channel, as I have my own logic behind it from yesterday." I appreciate that, bro. He says, as of now, he thinks Arsenal are winning the league, Man United second, City third, Liverpool fourth.
Bro, I want some of what your dealer's giving you. Like real talk, Man City third. Oh wow, big up to you, bro. But nah, Arsenal ain't winning nothing. Sorry, they're not.
You're really convinced about that. I saw on your channel yesterday. Why do you not think Arsenal are going to win anything?
We haven't done what's required, Tel. Are we actually much better than we were last season in terms of squad? Okay, cool. We got Timber. That's great. Good signing. Looks amazing. Statistically, he's in the top, the bottom 5 for headers last season. So let's not play him at centre back, for God's sake. Yeah, because statistically, bottom 5 for winning headers. Right. So I don't want to see him at centre back, but at right back, yeah, he looks amazing. I can't lie. So that's an upgrade. Yeah, definitely an upgrade on what we had there. I think Cedric's going to go. Tomiyasu's toilet, always injured. Then you go Declan Rice. Well, is he going to outperform? And listen, I'm not Granit Xhaka's fan at all, mate. Is he going to outperform Granit Xhaka? In output, probably not in terms of goals. Yeah, but winning the ball back and stuff like that, I'd say, yeah, probably. So you could say that's an upgrade. Havertz, for me, garbage. Sorry, ain't backing that until I see something. And I go, yeah, cool. Now consistently, he's done very well. Rubbish, waste of money. But we ain't got a striker, Tel. Eddie Nketiah is 24 years old and has achieved nothing. Yeah? Why is he here? Yeah, Balogun will go. We'll sell him because we can get top dollar for him. Right? We need a striker. I also think we need another right winger. And potentially another CM. Because we've got Jorginho, who's just not good enough. I'm sorry, don't care what anyone tells me. That guy was washed at Chelsea and he's done nothing for Arsenal apart from hit a crossbar and it hit Emi Martinez and go in. And everyone's, it's worth the money. Rubbish. Yeah, not good enough. Kai Havertz, not good enough.
I don't think you need, listen, maybe in the future, you scored 88 goals last season. I think you'll score the same, if not more, this campaign. Your biggest issue, in my opinion, in the back end of the season, you conceded too many goals. I think adding Rice to your team and Timber to your team, and potentially, by the way, David Raya, who I think's a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. So he's going to have one of again.
Ramsdale's on fraud watch, mate. Like, the amount of people that are blaming Partey for last season and saying, "I'll get rid of him, get rid of him." Rubbish. That goalkeeper was shit for 8 games.
But this is the point I'm making, Lee. So so one of two things will happen with Raya coming in. He'll start and be a better keeper, or he'll push Ramsdale to a higher level. So either way, I think it's going to be win-win. So if you've got a better goalkeeper, you've improved your defensive backup and quality with Timber. You've improved your midfield with Declan Rice. And in my opinion, I think Jesus will score more goals next year. And I think Martinelli and Saka will go to another level as well in terms of scoring more goals. I don't see why you're not in massive contention for winning that Premier League, because goals weren't an issue for you last year. You scored 88 in the Premier League. I think you'll score anywhere between 85 and 95 goals this season without a prolific out-and-out number 9. I really do. And I think you'll concede maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 less goals.
I disagree. I think we'll score less goals, and we'll concede about the same. Yeah, and the reason I say that
why won't you improve?
Because we can't really drop players and rest players for Champions League football like we did in the Europa League. Second leg of the Europa League against Sporting Lisbon, we had all of our better players on the bench. We drew 2-2 away, and then he's gone, "Oh, we'll throw the little ones out, the younger lot, the second string." Can't do that in the Champions League. You can't do that in a Champions League knockout game or a group game unless you've already qualified from the group with 2 games to go or something. Then you can do it. So we're going to get more injuries than last season, in my opinion. Not only that, more teams are going to find a way to stop us and nullify us, because last season we just boom, 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 boom. Well, we've seen so many teams. Sheffield, I'm talking about a different team here, but Sheffield United is the same premise. Sheffield United, right up there, the following season, relegated because teams suss you out. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get relegated, but I don't see us being right up there, blowing everyone away, because more teams are going to go, "Cool, we know how to beat Arsenal. Now we're part of the bus. Yeah, we'll camp on the edge of our box. We're not going to try and play football." And we're going to see that this season. Yes, we'll have games where we wallop teams 5-6 and that. Yeah, but we're going to get games where we're going to end up with 0-0s and 1-1s against average teams. Yeah, and Man City, even though they ain't brought anyone yet, they're still better than us. Yeah, because we have not done, in my opinion, enough to go and challenge for that title and actually win it. We need a striker, Terry. If we got Harry Kane in that team, title's done. So why not go and buy him? Why not at least try and buy him? Yeah, instead, we're sitting there poncing around hoping Eddie Nketiah comes good. Yeah, hoping Jesus scores a few more goals. Yeah, hoping Saka goes up another level, which I do think he will, by the way, and Martinelli. But Odegaard had his best ever performing season. Is he going to do that again? Don't know. Martinelli and Saka had their best performing seasons. Are they going to do it again? Well, I think they both will, but we don't know, do we? Yeah, then Saliba, cool, he was out injured for the last few games. But we're going to have 55, 60 games this season, and we have to play our best team in most of them. You can't throw the Champions League away.
I understand that. I do get it. What about this? Kudus and Raya would solidify their title challenge, maybe even make Arsenal favourites.
Not at all. Number one, we don't know how good Kudus is. He's just hyped up off a World Cup. Yeah, let's be real with it. He looks very good. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of players look very good and flop in the Premier League. So, we don't know. Not only that, yeah, this manager don't ever drop Saka, does he? Like, even if we've got other players that can play, he probably won't drop his favourite player. Yeah, he'll play 90 minutes week in, week out, and he'll end up being injured or ghosted in the last 8 games of this season again, like he done the last 2. And then everyone will blame it on somebody else because we can't do it with Starboy. Like, do you know what I mean? It winds me up. There should be games where he gets subbed off after 60 minutes when we're 3-0 up. Instead, he'll keep him on for 90 minutes. Yeah, and that's why he fades after 30 league games. Then he goes and plays every minute for England. Yeah, we do need a right winger. Kudus could be the guy. We ain't buying a right winger. I already know this. I'm not stupid enough to think we are. But the goalkeeper, well, we don't know, do we? Yeah. We have no idea what the goalkeeper's going to do. Is he coming in to replace Ramsdale and Ramsdale be benched? Yeah, or is he coming in to challenge Ramsdale? Yeah, and you said Ramsdale could go up another level. Well, he might not. The pressure might knock him over. Yeah.
Well, then you have a better goalkeeper there. It's an interesting one. George here says, but why not, Lee? We've improved the 2 areas that ultimately let us down in the title, running, midfield and defence. Come on, mate. We are doing it.
Well, listen, I admire your positivity, mate, but I don't think it was just necessarily them areas that let us down. 0-0 against Newcastle. Eddie had one chance in that game. If that's Kane, it's 1-0 and we win the game. Yeah, that is the difference. Yeah, I see it in pre-season against you lot. Eddie Nketiah against Man United in pre-season, one chance, scuffs it wide. If that's Harry Kane, that's in the back of the net. Yeah, and that is the difference between finishing second, third, or fourth, or actually winning the title. Yeah, we can get our goals with Saka and Jesus and Trossard and all these other players. That's great. But ultimately, if you've got a player that can bag you 25, 30 goals, then you add these players into it as well. All of a sudden, you're doing 100 goals a season and you win a league. Doesn't matter if you concede a few because you've got Harry Kane up front. And not only that, when you go out as Arsenal Football Club onto the pitch, is anyone scared of Jesus? Like, I like him. I think he's a fantastic player. But is a centre-back genuinely worried about him? Thinking, oh, this guy's amazing. He's got great movement, but you can just nudge him off the ball. Just kick him. Yeah, if it's Harry Kane, you all of a sudden, shit, it's Harry Kane. Yeah, there's that fear factor there. There ain't no fear factor with Jesus. I like him, and I think he's a good player, and I think we should keep him for this season, of course, yeah? But we need a Kane or a Tony or somebody that's going to put a bit of fear into a centre-back. Yeah, when you've got Odegaard crossing balls in, you've got Saka and Martinelli, and you've got Kane in the box, it's a different outcome, mate.
I get that. Studio Hooks here says, people forget Jesus was out for 2 to 3 months. He'll get an extra 10 GA minimum this year.
Well, hopefully, but it still won't win us the title. Yeah, and I think a lot of people have forgotten as well. We started last season with 9 wins out of our first 10 games. Yeah, we ain't doing that this season out of first 10 games. So straight away, we're on the back foot. Yeah, we can make the points up later in the season where we fell away last season. So you can potentially make them up, but it ain't happening, mate. Man City are walking the title, trust me. They are walking the title. Yeah, and then I'll tell you why, because Erling Haaland will not be found out because he is world class. Yeah, and he will bag the same amount of goals there or thereabouts again this season. So straight away, they've guaranteed 30-odd league goals. Straight away. Now Kevin De Bruyne bagged 10. Yeah, then they've got Foden. Then they've got Grealish. Bernardo Silva. They're still going to win the title, mate.
What about what Carl says here? Carl says, Man City are losing Gundogan, Mahrez, Laporte, and replacing them with Kovacic, Dooku, and Guardiola. Do you think they've improved?
Well, I don't think they've improved, but they were so far gone that they're still better than everyone else. Yeah, Mahrez didn't really play. He scored 15 goals in, I think, 47 appearances, but it weren't 90 minute. Yeah. It was like coming off the bench for 20 minutes or playing 60 minutes. Yeah, 3 of his goals were in a cup semi, I think, out of the 15 he scored in all comps last year. Right, but that's a miss because he is quality. Yeah, Gundogan, clutch at the end of a season. Yeah, that is a miss, but they're still so good. And they've still got such a good manager. And this is what winds me up, Terry. When people say, oh, but we lost to the treble winners, the best team on the planet. Okay, well, didn't Arsene Wenger win a title against a treble winning Man United side? Yeah, weren't Fergie the best manager on the planet? Weren't Man United the best team on the planet? Arsene Wenger was going up against Fergie year in, year out, going toe-to-toe with him. Yeah, so guess what? True. He found a way. You have to find a way. Man City are amazing. They're brilliant. We know that. But find a way. Yeah, all this excuse of, oh, it's Man City, they're the best on the planet. Well, so were Man United when Wenger was going up against them. We found a way. Yeah, we beat him in a cup final in 2005. Yeah, well, you battered us that day. I say we beat you. We got lucky and done you on pens. Yeah, right? But 90, when we won the league at your ground, you were one of the, if not the best team in the world. Yeah, and you were definitely in the top 3 at that point in the world.
I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. Luke here says Arsenal will win the. This was Arsenal will win the Shield, but City will win the Prem again. And glad to see we are getting rid of Dembele. He couldn't finish a world. Beating couldn't finish a word beginning with W and ending in A. I hear it is. Listen, Dembele is again one of those players again where I look at it and go, from an eye test point of view, I get he's brilliant, but from an outputs, consistency, and fitness level, he's just not there. And yeah, it's a worry. But yeah, how did you look on the? So go on.
No, you was going to say about the Shield. Well, the last 3 or 4, potentially even 5 times we've won the Shield. The team we've beaten in the final has won the league the next season.
So you want to lose, really?
Well, yeah, ideally. The Shield, listen, it's a glorified soccer aid. Yeah, and all the people that are claiming that the League Cup was beneath them are all going to be either at the game or watching the game, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Yeah, just saying. But true. I do think
true.
Yeah?
This is where your own banter comes back to bite you on the ass. And sometimes, me and KJ were talking about this earlier on today. Sometimes when it comes to certain conversations, just keep quiet. Don't get involved. Don't say anything, if that makes. And there's a clip going around today from Pep talking about how long balls into Rashford and the other guy, talking about Martial, don't stick because they're not good at, like, he didn't say they're not good first touches. He said they're not good at holding up the ball like Olivier Giroud or a number 9 like that. There's some going, yeah, this is why Rashford's trash. I'm like, that's just not his game. It's not what he does. You know, it's almost, but people are tweeting about it and going in on Rashford. I'm like, that's not the manager slagging Rashford off as a player. It's just saying Man United need to buy the right profiles to make their system work.
He's literally telling you what to buy. He's like telling you to buy
who is renowned for his hold-up playing ability, because that's what he's good at. And it's like, some people are so weird. It's like you just don't need to tweet. Just ignore, just leave it. This here says they can compete on multiple fronts by adding versatile players, which they have done. You may not rate Havertz, but he's elite in the air. Plan B for teams that sit back as an example.
Sorry, I switched off after elite in the air. Can you name 3 goals he scored with his head in the last 12 months? You can't, can you? Yeah, like, come on, mate. Real talk. Yeah, it's called straight facts. That is not factual information. He's not elite in the air. Yeah, that is just fan fiction, made up waffle. Yeah, versatile players just basically means you ain't good enough and elite in one position. So we'll play you in 3 or 4, and it'll make the squad look better because that player can play 3 different positions. Yeah, then the problem is, as soon as that player's out injured, you've now lost 3 or 4 positions, haven't you? Yeah, it works both ways. Yeah, all this versatile rubbish and buying players that are not experts in that one position, mate, the game's gone. Yeah, why don't you go and buy the best player in that position? Yeah, that position. I don't see all this rubbish at other clubs. Yeah, I don't see Real Madrid playing with inverted this and inverted that and players that are versatile. No, we know, Jude Bellingham's playing in midfield. We know Modric is playing in midfield. We know Kroos is playing in midfield. Yeah, we know that when Benzema was there, he's the striker. Yeah, he'll float out to the left a little bit, but he's the striker. Yeah, all this inverted rubbish, mate. Sorry, I'm not having it.
This here from CFC Pirate. He says, Lee, why are your fan base expecting a player who they called shit the whole time at Chelsea, but expecting to shine at Arsenal?
Because it's all about vibes, mate. Yeah, it's all about vibes. It's all about the feel-good factor. The amount of people that comment to me every day and just say, yeah, but the football got better. And what? We didn't win anything. So you're sounding like a Spurs fan now. Yeah. Oh, as long as we get good football. Oh, it's the best feel-good factor at the club for years. And what? And what? Yeah, like I said to you the other week, COVID was the best thing to happen to some of these football clubs because they've realised they can milk people on emotion. Yeah, absolute take the mick out of them. Arsenal's new shirt's 15% more expensive than last season's one. Why? I know Adidas are the sponsor of the shirt, but Arsenal ultimately have a say in the price as well. And it's gone up 15%. The kids' one's gone up 10%.
Of course they do. But it's like with Man United. You know, I've said to you, buying shirts does make the club more money. We're getting £20 million a year more now. I thought yesterday I said it was 30. I was wrong. It's £20 million more a year into the club now from Adidas. Why? Because we sell shirts. If we didn't sell shirts, if people stopped buying them or refused to pay the prices, it would have a knock-on effect. But I do hear you.
But that's all well and good, Terry, having all that extra money coming into your club. But ultimately, it only helps the owner. Yeah, for all of our clubs. So when people when people like go on about, oh yeah, but let's just play the youth player. No, you're just saving the ownership money. Yeah, why don't you go and buy the very best player in that position that you can buy? Yeah, I got told for years, yeah, and even on here in all the comment sections, yeah, oh, Champions League, you can get world-class players. Well, where's the world-class players we were supposed to sign in? Because we haven't signed one yet. Declan Rice ain't world-class. Timber ain't world-class. The goalkeeper that we're signing ain't world-class. Havertz ain't world-class. 240.
You are linked though to Kvaratskhelia.
I mean, come on, world-class, mate. Exactly.
I'm just saying, you're linked to him. I get where you're coming from. Cliff here agrees with you on what's going to happen. He says, unless our top 6 rivals once again have poor starts to their seasons, we ain't winning the league. 4th, if lucky, might win a cup. Might.
And that's my point. Yeah, and the thing is, if you ask most Arsenal fans what would be a good season, they will say get Champions League football again. That's pathetic. Yeah. Oh, we need, and the amount of people I hear as well that say, yeah, he has to win a trophy this season. Yeah, but if you don't, you ain't going to hold him accountable. You'll just be happy we're back in the Champions League and around and round we go again. Yeah, so he don't have to win the trophy.
Yeah, I hear you on that. People going back on it. There's a challenge for you here, though. This one here says City are built around tactical versatility, though. So players that play multiple positions.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. We're not Man City, mate. Yeah, Man City do it and it works well. Good, well done. Good, congratulations to them. Yeah, there's other teams that are elite level football clubs that don't do all of this rubbish, i.e. Real Madrid. Yeah, and Real Madrid are the most decorated team in the world for the last 2 seasons and only won 1 trophy last season. Yeah, they don't do all of this tactical versatility stuff. They just do, right, you're playing at left back, you're getting up and down the pitch, you're going to cross the ball in. Yeah, you're playing at right back, you're going to do the same. You're going to get the ball and pass to Cruz, he's going to give it to Modric, and then it's going to Benzema. Yeah, and Vinny's going to get in down the wing. Different strokes for different folks. Yeah, and this is what winds me up. When you look at somebody like Simeone at Atleti, yeah, right? How can he, without all of this tactical versatility, how can he break up the dominance of them 2 clubs with next to no money compared to them 2 clubs? I know Barca are pretending they're skin and not. Yeah, they're pretending. It's the biggest myth in the world that they're skin. Yeah, but I don't understand how a manager can go and break up their dominance. He won the league at Barcelona. He won the cup at Real Madrid that season. I know I'm going back a while, but that was when Luis Enrique had Barca purring. They were like literally the best team in the world. Yeah, and then he goes there and wins the league at Barca's ground. How? Because it's a different style. When we beat Liverpool in 1989, I know I'm going way back, we were 1-0 to the Arsenal. George Graham, sit back, defend. Everyone put their arms up, offside. But you went to Anfield, you ain't beating Liverpool. You ain't scoring a goal against them. But guess what? You find a way. We have to find a way. And our way is not copying what Pep's doing. Yeah, because it clearly ain't worked.
I hear you on that. KL's come back regarding the aerial stuff of Havertz and said that Havertz is in the 94th percentile in percentage of aerial duels won and has scored 9 goals with his head in the last 2 years.
So that's 4 a season. 4.5 a season. It's hardly elite, is he?
I'm not defending it. But the one thing I would ask is how many goals a year are being scored with the head by like Kane and Alan Shearer that you would stand out as being brilliant? I'm going to try and work out. Harry.
See, the thing is, just because he wins aerial duels doesn't mean he's elite in the air. Yeah, the same as like just because he's got good pass accuracy doesn't mean he's a great passer. Yeah, because it's what type of passes, what type of aerial duels. Yeah, is he tussling with a centre back when he's winning that? Like, or is he 3 foot in front of the centre back, made a quick run and flipped the header on? It's all subjective. This is why when people come out with stats like that, I just look at it and I just think, mate, my eyes don't fail me. He is not a good footballer. Yeah, he can win as many headers as he wants. Ultimately, he ain't a very good footballer. Yeah, and ultimately, he ain't going to kick us onto a title. Yeah, somebody that's elite in the air, scoring 9 goals in 2 seasons. I'm sorry. Nah, come on.
No, listen, yeah. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just, again, it's one of those things where I just sort of like,
there you don't go. know. Machiavelli in the chat said out of Shearer's 260 in the Premier League, 46 were headers. Yeah, so okay, hang on. But what you've got to do with that, let me just do it with Alan Shearer then, because Alan Shearer is a prime example of someone who's very good with his head, right? So let me just get Alan Shearer up. You've got to check how many Premier League seasons he played in. So he had, and then you just divide it. So yeah, it's probably about 4 a season.
So what he played. So are we include that's Premier League goals only, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. So how many was it? 44.
46. So what, 3 a season?
46, yeah, divided by 15. So about 3 a season. So, I mean, that means Kai Havertz is actually outperforming Alan Shearer. But this is the thing, and this isn't a dig. I remember once before when Man United player scored 3 or 4 like free kicks in a season. Somebody's like, yeah, we need someone who can score much, much more than that. But then you break it down, you look at the greatest free kick takers ever. They're only ever averaging, like Beckham, like 3 or 4 free kick goals a season. And so that's what I mean by the eye test. Sometimes you have to look at the facts versus what your eye test is telling you. But that's an interesting one for me. But let's see what he does in an Arsenal. Let's leave it out there. Let's see what he does in an Arsenal shirt then. Lee, what is your opinion on the media pushing the narrative of Hojlund versus Haaland?
Of course they will. They're getting loads of clicks. And Man United fans are as bad as Arsenal fans online, so they'll hype him up to oblivion, mate. Yeah, he's literally only Man United could sign Hojlund to put him up against Haaland. It's like Arsenal signing Austin Trusty when we were trust the process. Like, I mean, come on, listen, the kid might be decent.
Yeah, but we, in fairness, the media are actually not doing that. The media are actually saying, "Why would you buy it?" They don't compare, and it's very weird because Man United fans generally are not. None of us believe he's at Haaland's level. I don't even want him mentioned near Haaland. The irony is, if he was from a different background and culture, I think it's really disrespectful to go, well, he's blonde and Scandinavian, so we'll compare him to another blonde and Scandinavian player. Like, that for me is wrong. Like, if he was from a different nationality or different religion or had different skin color or hair color, and you went, right, you just signed a player from an African player, let's compare him to just another African player. That's why would you do that? For me, it's weird. It's very weird.
He's tall, he's quick, and he can run
blonde
fast.
And Scandinavian.
Oh yeah, but it's not just off for them too. It's because he's quick and he can run fast and he's a big lad. Yeah. So
look, at the end of the day, if you went and signed a really good right-sided winger today that just happened to be Chinese or Japanese or Korean, if the first thing that Sky did was compare him to Matoma, you know exactly why. For me, that just stuff's a little bit like, you ain't got to do that. But I don't like it because no one's claiming he's as good. It's a little bit off key, personally, for me. But thank you for that super chat. This one says, I don't think we need a striker. We score enough goals. Havertz is crap and is undefinable as a player. Up to him to prove us wrong and get 10 to 15 GA this season.
I agree with the Havertz bit, but we don't score enough goals, hence why we didn't win the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't score enough. We needed another 12, 15 goals.
I get that.
That would have been the difference because that would have got us over the line against Newcastle. We would have won that game and got an extra 2 points. We might have scored a couple of goals if we had a proper striker against Everton and not lost that game. So there's another 3 points. That's 5 points. All of a sudden, we're top of the table with Man City. Yeah, now, see, this is the thing, Terry. Elite level strikers are hard to come by. I get that. But when you've got one at Tottenham and you've got potentially one in the making at Brentford, because I think he's class, man. Yeah, and I think he can kick on another level at a better team. Yeah, I think it's dumb that we ain't going in for him, especially when we go and do 65 on Havertz. It's like, mate, why don't you just go and buy Tony with that?
I hear your opinion that Havertz has got a lot to prove to a lot of people this year. I want to thank Anthony here for gifting out 15 memberships to our viewers. Thank you very, very much, bro. I appreciate that. I think Arteta tries too hard to emulate Pep, is what Proton says
and
here.
And that is where his problem is. He overthinks games. He overthinks his tactics. He overthinks playing players in wrong positions. Like the other day in pre-season, he's playing Tomiyasu at left back. Well, because he pocketed Salah when Salah was crap at the start of the season. I mean, come on, we've got Tierney sat on the bench and you're playing somebody who's not a left back at left back.
I hear you.
He's not Pep.
Tina here says, if Cavadonna and Raya become gunner players, they will have basically spent over 300 million in a transfer window. What can we demand from Arteta if that is spent?
Well, even if we don't get the guy from Napoli, whose name I'm not going to try and butcher, even with the goalkeeper, it's about 260. Yeah, and that'll touch him up to nearly 700 million pounds spent. When is it acceptable to actually win a title? When is it acceptable for me to be able to say that without thousands of people attacking me for it? Yeah, name me another manager in world football that's had this level of backing, without any pressure to win anything. Do you know
what I would say about this? Where I agree with you on this is I've seen a lot. We had a Gooner on a Top 6 show about a week ago. Come at me and say, well, if you're saying there's pressure on Arteta after spending at least 700 million, your manager's getting close to 400 million, so there should be pressure on him. My response was, yes, I agree. There's pressure on Ten Hag, and he has to improve on last year. I'm putting that pressure on, especially if we get all our signings this summer. However, it doesn't matter what Man United have done. Doesn't matter what Liverpool have done. Doesn't matter what City have done. When you're talking about Arsenal in isolation, the whataboutery doesn't cut it for me. There has to be. Everyone knows I'm not polarized and I'm not hyperbolic. So saying win the Premier League or sack him, I can't stand by that as a standalone statement because you have to look at the context. If you get 97 points this year and miss out by a point and winning the league, I don't think most Gooners would say terrible season, sack him. However, if he comes 5th and finishes 30 points off the top, it's a very different conversation to have. But there has to be, if they spend over 300 million this summer, their expectations have got to be.
It's not even about 300 million, Terry. He's done nearly 700 million if we sign Raya. Yeah, and the amount of people, there's one in the comments now. Yeah, but Chelsea have done that in 2 seasons. Nobody cares, mate. We're not talking about Chelsea. We're talking about Arsenal and Arteta. Yeah, and this is the thing that these fans come out with for the protection of this manager. I do not get it. I genuinely do not understand why this man is so hyped up. Yes, we played good football at times last season, but ultimately, Terry, he's done nearly £750 million and won 1 FA Cup with a squad that he's got rid of.
Mate, I hear you on that.
Raya would be his 26th signing, by the way. That is a whole squad.
No, I hear you, bruv. Donny here says, I hate this inverted right back and left back toll image. Inverting Roberto Carlos in his day would ruin him.
Hey, all of these hipsters have ruined football, man. I'm telling you. All of this inverted this and inverted that. XG, XT. Come on, man.
Jamie Fletcher here says, Lee, I'm going to the Costa del Sol next August. It is nice there. Also, big up yourself for speaking nothing but truth and facts. You're my favorite YouTuber.
Nice one, mate. Appreciate that. And yeah, it is nice. It is very nice in Spain, mate. 36 degrees today. And I'm sat in here talking to Terry.
No, I know. Liverpool Till I Die says, I think it's very casual to say that Arteta copies Pep. There's similarities in the way they play, but also differences. Arteta is a lot more direct as a manager, whereas Pep is focused on control at all times.
Yeah, I kind of get that. But he is copying him. He is 100% trying to copy him. Yeah, and then and Jesus came out the other day, and I don't know if you see this, and said, yeah, we were feeling the pressure, and the pressure got to us. And mate, didn't we sign you and the inverted left back, the virtue signaling left back that we have? Yeah, didn't we sign them to stop feeling the pressure? They've got the winning mentality. They've been through it all. So how is he allowing that in the dressing room, and how is Zinchenko allowing that? Yeah. And for me, that comes back again to the manager, because when our manager, when it's going wrong, he is clueless. He starts doing random things like weird subs and stuff. Yeah. And then the players look into that and think, well, he's nervous. Now I'm nervous.
Oregon Gooner here says, a couple of cheeky tequilas. Yeah. 2 cheeky tequilas is what he says.
Bring up my guy, man.
Appreciate
you know what he's chatting about as well, didn't I? I'm going to smash the fucking... that film's class, man. I watched that the other day.
Jamie Drummer here says, Onana sent Maguire to Africa for disciplining. Is what Jamie Drummer says there. This one says, Lee knows me well, but and he won't like this, but I think Saka is overhyped and average. I want a winger like Robin or similar to Martinelli.
He's definitely overhyped. I keep hearing people say he's world class. How's he world class when he's never done it in the Champions League? That makes no sense to me. You've got to be doing it at the highest stage. And listen, he's very good at what he's doing, and he's leveled up every season. Yeah, but to say he's world class, he's consistently very good. I wouldn't say he's world class yet. He might be. Listen, if he smashes the Champions League up this season and he goes to another level and he's running rings around everyone and scoring loads of goals, then there's a conversation to be had. But when you're talking, I see people say, "Oh, he's in the top 3 wingers in the world," but well, he ain't, though, is he? Like, let's just be real with it. He ain't. Like, you got Vinny Jr. winning Champions Leagues. Yeah, straight away, he is the best winger in the world. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's average. I think that's. I don't think you can do what he did at a World Cup, do what he does consistently in the Premier League, and be an average football player. The overhyped thing, I think he's amazing. Saka, I think he's absolutely tremendous. I get what you're saying about you want a Robin, but who is that? Does he exist on that right? Is there someone on the right-hand side who's like Robin of that level? The answer is no. There are very few right-sided wingers, in my opinion, that would deliver as consistently for you as Saka, who are better than him in world football, that you could buy, that you could actually go out and are attainable for Arsenal. I think you have one of the best. And in my opinion, if your owners hadn't paid him the salary that he was on and you hadn't improved the way you did last year, he wouldn't even be at Arsenal now. City or someone like that would have come in for him. But the fact that Arsenal are acting like big boys and spending big money on salary, and you improved last year, is why you've kept him. But I think Saka's great personally. This here says, let's be honest. I hope Arsenal win the league, but we have just seen one of the best teams ever win the treble. Does anyone really think they will lose? Well, look,
we've got to find a way. This comes back to what I said about when Wenger was going up against treble-winning Man United team. Yeah, it's going up against them, wasn't he? And the thing for me, you have to find a way, and that way is not copying what Pep does. There's a comment I want to read out quickly. Yeah,
you go on.
Where is it? It's Groundhog Day with Lee. He says the same things every season and uses Real Madrid to win an argument. Well, we did smash a stadium down to be like them, mate. Yeah, yeah. And I'll use that every single year, every single day, every single stream, until we actually act and compete with Real Madrid. Yeah, that's it. And if you actually want to talk about financial side of things, mate, I know Real Madrid inside out. Yeah, since 2008, net spend, we have absolutely blown Real Madrid out of the water since 2008. Yeah, so we can compete financially with Madrid because we've outspent them for the last 15 years. But now look at the trophies. Put the trophies on the table. We've got 5 FA Cups since we moved to the Emirates, or 4 or 5. Yeah, what have they won? They won 6 trophies in 2 seasons. Yeah, so when we actually start doing it, and the reason for that is because their fan base are elite. Ours ain't. Yeah, ours just lower the standards, accept Kai Havertz, accept crap, accept 93% and then bottling it, accepting the manager, accepting this. They've got one of the greatest managers of all time, and they wanted him sacked because he only won the cup. Yeah,
I hear you on that. Carl here says that when United won the treble, they dominated for 2 more seasons after winning the Prem in 99, 2000, 2001. City aren't going anywhere. But come on, you gooners! Yeah, that City are going nowhere. They may be a little.
No, they're not. They're a good team.
They're not. They're not going. They're still the favourites.
Listen, they're not unbeatable. Brentford beat them twice. Yeah, they're literally not unbeatable. And the thing is, you don't even need to. We only play Man City. This winds me up to. We only play Man City 2 games out of 38. Yeah, 2. That's it. Yeah, so go and win the other games. Yeah, it don't matter if you lose to Man City, then does it?
I hear you on that. Out of all the top 6 teams, Arsenal have the least amount of injuries. That's why people think they're good. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Declan Rice is injured, apparently.
Lee, you're right. Arsenal need a killer up front. Big games need big players. Salah, Kane, Haaland, and Mbappe, Lewandowski. Kane is available.
Thank you. Somebody that gets it.
AFC Singh says, I agree that Kane will complete us, but we have a lot of goals as I expect them to be better with a year's more experience and they know what it feels like, is what's been said here.
I do think to a certain degree that's right, but at the same time, I do think Kane completes us, but can you put it back up? What did you say? I do think Kane completes. You've unstarted now, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Sorry. Right. I do think Kane completes us, but I'm happy with the amount of goals we score. You've just totally contradicted yourself. So what you're basically saying is, with all due respect, mate, what you're saying is Harry Kane completes us, which means we can win a title, but I'm happy that we're not going to win a title. I mean, come on.
I hear you there. Rude Boy says, when was the last time we signed someone that was world class before they got to Arsenal? We've always been a club that makes players world class.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We've always been close to being good. Like,
you
even back to in the day. Sol Campbell was definitely world class when we signed him. Yeah, I'd say Mesut Ozil, Real Madrid when we signed him. Yeah, that obviously didn't work out how it should have, but I'd say he was world class at the time. And Alexis Sanchez, maybe. Other than that, we're struggling. Dennis Bergkamp when we signed him, 100%. But
Dennis Bergkamp, when you signed him, he would have been. I'm going to throw another one out there. What about Patrick Vieira?
No, he wasn't world class when we signed him. No. He was at AC Milan, barely playing, I think. He weren't world class when we signed him. No, Aubameyang's a shout. Abba's a shout. He was world class when we signed him.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
look how many players we're going. Look, we're struggling.
You know what? I'm dumb. I thought you signed Vieira in 1998. You didn't. It was 1996 you signed him. And I thought if you signed him when he won the World Cup, then sorry, I got my dates wrong there. No, I hear you. This year says, I think Arsenal have had a great window. If they add Raya and Kudus, Kudus, then they'll win the league, in my opinion. You guys score for fun. Your problems was conceding, not scoring, is what this Liverpool fan says.
I just want to say how many goals Man City
88.
conceded. No, how many they conceded Man City last season. Let's have a look. They conceded 10 goals less than Arsenal.
And scored 10. 6 more. So you need a couple more goals. And again, if you concede, honestly, in my opinion, if you concede 10 goals less this season and score in and around the same, I think you can easily break the 90-point barrier.
In fact, when you actually deep play that we conceded 10 goals more than them, and 7 of them goals came against them. That's actually mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
mate. And this is my point. When I watch teams like back in the day when we were going head to head with you lot were going up against Chelsea, or we were going up against Chelsea the season after Invincible and all that, right? When you look at these teams, they were always competitive against the team that had won the league. You were competitive against us and vice versa. Yeah, it was. I know we had games where you spanked us off the park 6 and that. Like, I understand that, yeah. But there was games where we done you quite comfortably. But most of the time, it was head to head. We're the best two teams.
And those games only really happened when one of us. That only really happened when one of us scored a goal or two early, and then the game was out. Like that. That's when that typically happened.
Yeah.
Thank you for that 100%. Super chat. There's a few more here. First one says Real Madrid play Camavinga as an inverted fullback. Valverde centre back plays right wing. So saying there's versatility at Real Madrid as well.
Camavinga's only played inverted left back because Nacho was out injured. I watch every Real Madrid game, mate. Literally every single one. Yeah. He's only played left back because Nacho was out injured towards the end of last season. Whether he continues to play at left back going forward remains to be seen. Maybe he will. Yeah, but I don't think next season, maybe he will this season, but next season, no way is he playing left back because Modric and Kroos will be gone. Yeah, and then they'll have Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Bellingham in midfield.
Not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad.
We spent nothing for
20 years down to be like them, tell.
We spent nothing for 20 years. We were that far behind. I hear you on that. Wage Bill speaks. It took us that long to get a team. Lissandro said that Jesus was his toughest opponent.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's because he kicked him in the first minute.
Real Madrid played Camavinga at left back. Lol is what Studio Hook says here. We can't really address that. Lee, are you elite in the air?
No. I would have said that my head's in the clouds half the time.
How is the crack in Spain, Lee? Seems strong.
Ask your mum.
Steve runs here says, what are your predictions for top 4 and relegation as things stand right now, Lee?
Man City walk the title again. I'm going to say Man United second.
Ooh.
Arsenal third. Liverpool fourth. What did he say? Top 4. And then relegation, Luton are doomed. Sheffield United to go down. And hopefully Bournemouth or Brighton, one of them two. Hopefully Brighton. Yeah, hopefully Brighton. The fact that they have got that much money based off of winning nothing ever in their history at like elite level. Yeah, I know they've won the championship or whatever, but they've never won a major honour. And the fact that they have got that much money that they can reject 80 million quid for a footballer is a piss take, and that sums up everything wrong with English football. Well, it is.
Well, maybe not. What they're saying
you
is
should get paid for your performances. Their performances are literally 120 odd years of no trophies. Like no major honour.
But their performances now are good.
They ain't won anything.
They're getting better. They're getting closer to it.
Okay, but like I said to you last week, if they get 100 million for Caicedo, are they actually going to go and reinvest that into more players and get themselves up there like top players? No, they're not. They're not. They'll go and buy another kid from Brazil for 9 million quid. They'll go and buy another one here for 4 million quid from Colombia. They'll go and buy one from Ecuador.
It's about the salaries, though. You've got to remember, Arsenal's wage bill is more than Brighton generates income as a football club. So they can't go and buy the same level players that Arsenal, Man United and City do.
Well, if they get 100 million quid for Caicedo, I'm quite sure they can pay a lot higher wages just based off of the 100 million that they're getting.
Of course, but when you start paying 1 and 2 players more money, everybody's money starts to go up, and then it becomes unsustainable. They have to run themselves as a business.
You've got better players in your club. yeah, then you start moving up the table, you start winning trophies, and you're a more attractive club, and you build your club up.
You got to remember though, bro. They've done like nearly 100 million so far this summer already. They've spent that, like their biggest summer ever. So again, every year they increase more and more around what they spend and sort of what they do. So
in about another 120 years, they might be ready to win stuff then.
Maybe. You know, they're doing all right.
They've literally not won a major honour in their history.
I get that, and I
don't understand why anyone hypes them up. So hopefully they get relegated. Buying all these cheap players and flogging them for big money, not reinvesting it properly. Nah, get rid of them. Yeah, Southampton did that, and look what happened. When it all goes south and the deck of cards falls down, you end up getting relegated. Yeah, so in the next couple of years, hopefully they're gone back to where they should be. Sorry if I've upset any Brighton fans.
This year says, could a striker take goals away from the rest? Oh, yes and no.
It didn't do Man City any problems.
When Bruno Fernandes came in, there was a notion that he took goals off other people. He didn't, because we had a 35% increase in goals scored, and a lot of them were by him. With you could make the argument. I mean, it's like anything. It's like say I don't really get the argument per se, because last season City scored in the Prem. City 93. Scored 94 goals as an example. The year before that, they scored 99 goals. So based on that question, City become a worse goal scoring team with Haaland. But it doesn't really matter because they won the league still.
And if you go through their top goal scorers last season, Mahrez barely played and scored 15.
Yeah, and you have to look at it this way as well. And this is the element of this is an eye test element rather than a stat element. Let's just say you start a game off, and Haaland's on a brace in the first 20 minutes, and it gets a hat-trick at the start of the second half. The team starts playing differently, where you might not even go for a fourth goal. You might pass the ball around and reserve energy. Therefore, you might find less players are scoring because there isn't the necessity for everybody to be pushing for goals. You might the year before have the goals more spread out because you don't have a prolific player, and you're playing at, and you're playing at a higher intensity for longer. You might be scoring more of your goals late in games where it's 1-0 quite close to the end of the game, then you get 2 or 3 goals right near the end that kill a game off. You have to assess everything, and I don't necessarily think a prolific number 9 takes goals off everybody else as an example, but yeah, I suppose it can work that way. I mean, but then you look at Liverpool. Liverpool scored 94 goals in 2022 season. They bought 2 number 9s last year and scored 75 goals, so they lost 20 goals off their total after signing number 9s. That's because they weren't as good a football team, partly because of new signings, less cohesion, problems at the back. So I don't know. So I mean, you can make the argument that signing number 9s at Liverpool make the team score less goals. But I just think it's
also factor in Mane was sold.
Yes, exactly. And he's not a number 9. So I look at it very much as you can manipulate certain stats into an argument and try and make someone look bad. And I know that's what a lot of people are saying. Hojlund's just going to take goals of other people. Well, if that happens, that's a problem. What we should be looking for is Rashford scoring similar, Bruno scoring more, Antony scoring more, Sancho scoring more, and Hojlund adding an extra 15 to 20 goals. Then you're near a title race. Because if you had 20 goals, you got to look at, if you had 20 goals onto Man United, then that's easily going to generate 10 plus more points. If, again, those goals are scored in the right games. I don't want more goals in games we're already winning. I want to win them. I want goals in the games that we drew and lost. That's where it's most important to improve your goal scoring, in my personal opinion. But there we go. Lee to homeless man, just buy a house, mate. What?
He needs to learn how to construct a sentence properly.
I don't get it, like,
JS buy a house. JS buy a house. You mean just? It's JUST, yes. Mate. What is wrong with these people? I swear to God, mate, I'm telling you now, yeah, it's going to be a wake-up call for a lot of fans this season. They're a wake-up call for a lot of fans. They're only here giving it the Bertie for vibes, yeah? And I said this to my friend on the phone the other night. When we played Wolves, the last game of the season, right, it was always going to be a love fest. Go to the game before that against Brighton, and 30,000 walked out when Brighton scored their second goal. The best season, the best vibes, the best atmosphere, the best culture. He's changed everything. We were top for 93%. It was amazing. Oh, we're so united. The club's back again. Yet half the stadium walked out on 2-0. That told me everything I needed to know. And I'll tell you now, if we start this season poorly, yeah, i.e. 3 losses in the first 10 or 12 games, you watch how quick they turn. Yeah, because half of them are chatting bollocks. They're only They're hoping he comes good. Listen, I hope he comes good, but I'm not deluding myself. If he comes good, cool, happy days. But he ain't, and we're just going to waste another season. And then all we get out of people is, oh yeah, but you just want to hire and fire managers. Yeah, because I understand that they're a paid employee, mate. Like, that's it. Yeah, if he ain't good enough, he gets sacked. You bring somebody else in who's better that can do the job, and if he can't, he gets sacked.
Yeah, I think the super chat, the super chat was alluding to you saying, how can Brighton spend what they don't have?
Well, Brighton earned over 100 million for finishing 6th last season.
Right.
Everyone in the Premier League gets an equal pay for TV revenue. Yeah, they instantly, every single team in the Premier League last season got over 100 million quid just for being on TV. The Premier League TV deal, 100 million quid. Every single club in the Premier League earned over 100 million last season, straight off of Premier League TV rights. And they'll do it again this season, and next season, and next season, and it go up again, and it go up again. So it's bullshit they can't spend. Absolutely rubbish.
But what you've got to remember, though, is, so on the last set of trading accounts that was submitted by Brighton, I'm just reading this now, their turnover, including the TV money, okay? So reading this out here, it says there was a 28 million increase in turnover, up from, so literally their turnover was like 170 odd million as an example. That was that's the turnover of the football club. So yes, they're getting 100 million TV money, but the rest of the income for a club like Brighton is so tiny compared to rivals because they've got a very small fan base. Their sponsorships are worth a pittance in comparison to, remember, Man United's Adidas deal is almost 50% of the entire income of that football club, plus all the other sponsors. They have nowhere near as much money. Arsenal, for all the top 6 teams on average, earn between 5.5 to 6 times more money than them per year. So, I get your point, go and buy bigger players. The problem is, if you suddenly start paying you go and get a player that is world class and he wants £10 million a year, the going rate, suddenly everybody else is going to start wanting more money. Then it becomes unsustainable.
You'll get better. You'll start winning stuff. How do you think Atletico? How did Atletico when they were getting hang on, bro. But you're not listening to what I'm saying. They can start winning more, okay? But the prize money doesn't increase. They won't suddenly. If Brighton won the Premier League 2 years running, they wouldn't suddenly have an income of £500 or £600 million a year. They don't have a fan base. No, but they would get more sponsorship deals in a higher value.
Okay, the sponsorships would go up, but they wouldn't go up that massively because they don't have a big fan base. There's no shirt sponsor that's going to sponsor them 50, 60, 70 million a year when their fan base is tiny. It's all based on eyes on the club. So they are such a small football club that are punching above their weight. It could take them 20 years to have the income to buy a squad full of world-class players. And if they were to overspend and start losing, they'd risk going out of business and collapsing. You can't do that, Lee. You can't do it.
Sorry. When Atletico Madrid, were competing with Madrid and Barca, the TV money in Spain, 85 or 90% of the money went to Barca and Madrid. The other 15% was split between the other 18 clubs in the league. So how did they do it? Have Atletico got a massive global fan base? No.
Okay.
I live in Spain. I barely see an Atleti shirt.
I understand where you're coming from, but they are. I mean, I just went and checked it here right now. They're averaging between 300 and 400 million of income per year, as an example. Atletico Madrid, that's in the last 3 to 4 years. And hang on, and I get that, but Atletico Madrid are a longer established top level team than Brighton, so they're building upon such a bigger history than what Brighton have got. They've got a bigger income than Brighton. They're more attractive. They're more prestigious than Brighton. I think comparing Brighton and Atletico Madrid is really disingenuous.
It's the same premise, because
how?
Atletico Madrid, in comparison to Real Madrid and Barcelona, are a tiny football club. You just said their income's around 300 million, 400 million, their income, right? Now do Real Madrid and Barcelona, miles away, and this is my point. The TV money in this country is not now, but back then, when they weren't getting 300-400 million quid in, they were probably getting a fraction of that 12 years ago when Simeone got there. then it was still miles away from Real Madrid. They have bridged the gap and they have won stuff based off of the fact that they got a manager in, who could find a way to compete with the very best and biggest clubs on the planet. Whilst, by the way, Barcelona had top-level managers. Luis Enrique was there at the time. He would have won the fucking league at Barca's ground. And if you go and have a look at the TV money deal in Spain back then, Real Madrid and Barca were getting most of it, and the rest got split. How can they compete?
So I understand that. So I'm looking at Real Madrid's now. They average between 600 to 750 million per year. So you're looking at double. Okay, hang on. So you're looking at about double. However, what you've got to factor into this is Atletico. How do Atletico Madrid compare to the rest of the league? Brighton are not the third biggest club in England. Atletico Madrid are. So they still have. No, it isn't irrelevant because Brighton are not just competing against two teams that are bigger than them. So if Brighton were the third biggest team in England income-wise and prestige-wise and historical and money, then they've got more of a chance of building up a team that could pip the top two teams to the occasional season. They could build a great team that could challenge really well for a few years, as Atletico Madrid did in the Champions League. But Brighton, in terms of size of fan base and income, sponsorship opportunities, are probably they're the championship teams that have got bigger incomes and bigger fan bases than them. So you're not making a fair comparison. Brighton are not the third biggest team in England.
No, sorry, but go back to when Simeone took over that football club. Were they the third biggest club in Spain at the time? Did they have this history and trophy? Yes, they've won stuff and they were a decent sized club, but Simeone's took them to next level, winning trophy. Take all of them trophies out. The day Simeone walks into that football club, you had Valencia flying. Yeah. You had other teams in this league doing bits and were winning trophies and more successful around them sort of times. Yeah. So they had to compete against them teams as well. And they've still managed to edge their way in. And now they've solidified. We are the third biggest club in Spain. Yeah. And now we're here to stay.
So I understand
what I'm saying on Brighton's level. Brighton can do the same. Brighton, if they were clever, and actually wanted to win, they're not clever. It's all about the owner making money. Yeah, we know that. He's made his money out of gambling. Yeah, like, come on, he's a billionaire. Why ain't he putting his own money in and saying, right, we're gonna keep you, we're gonna get him, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and edging them in, start winning a trophy, start getting in the top four, start competing for a title. You can do it, and then you get more fans globally. Why are Man United so big? Because they're successful. Why are Real Madrid so big? Every big club that has the biggest fan bases are based off of success. Yeah, that's how you get big.
So let me just say, I understand where you're coming from, but before Simeone joined, the club already had 9 La Ligas. They've won 2 since he has been there. They had before he arrived. They've got 10 Copa del Reys right now. They had 9. Hang on. They had 9 before he arrived. So the point I'm making is you're comparing a team who only like a decade ago was playing in non-league level football, and over a decade or so, they used this is the point I'm making. Brighton and Albion were a low-level team, a Leyton Orient level, non-league at times team for years. That's all they ever had the fan base size for and the money for as a football club. Tony Bloom has come in, and over the past decade or so, has turned them into an established Premier League team that have qualified for Europe, who are continuing each year on year, their wage bill increases. How much they're spending on transfers increases. They are developing towards a club that wants to win. You're comparing them to a team with 100+ year history at the elite end of the spectrum, who have won, as I say, 11 league titles, 10 Copa del Reys, been to Champions League finals. They've been European Cup winners. They've won 3 European Europa Leagues. You are comparing a gigantic club in Atletico to a tiny club in Brighton.
Yeah,
sorry?
When Simeone walks in that club, he's rejuvenized and made that club what
it
is.
Yes, but he's rejuvenated a club that was already gigantic. He didn't take over a club.
It was on its arse.
No. It was failing, but he's turned around a gigantic club with a massive fan base. He didn't take over an Atletico Madrid team.
Sorry, how many fans do you reckon Atleti have worldwide, and how many do you reckon they had back then?
I bet they have more than Brighton, but you're comparing them to Brighton. I'm
comparing the fact that you've gone in and you've competed against 2 of the biggest clubs on the planet, if not the biggest clubs on the planet. You've done that from a position where you're not Brighton.
But you're not Brighton.
But you're doing that from a position where the club was on its arse, wasn't competing with Valencia or Getafe, let alone Real Madrid and Barca. Had an income.
So can I ask you a question?
That was a fraction of everyone else's.
Well, fraction of the biggest two, not everybody else in the league. It was one of the highest. Let me ask you a question. Do you expect like Brighton to become title winners again? Do you think it's as easy for them as it is for a club like Arsenal? So, okay. So do you think for Brighton to become a title winning Premier League team, do you think it's as easy for Brighton to knock City off their perch as it is for Arsenal or Man United?
Terry, Man City were in League 2. Yeah.
Right.
League 2. And now they've won a treble. It can be done. Yeah.
Okay. So
the owner ain't serious, mate.
Again. So Manchester City, before the Sheikh, were a much bigger football club with a much bigger fan base than Brighton. Let me ask you the question again, though.
It's the same premise. Man City were only big in Manchester.
Let me ask you a question, bro. Let me ask you a question. So, Arsenal, would you agree that Arsenal have fallen from grace in the last 20 years?
Arsenal have been shit for 20 years, yeah.
20 years, cool. I'm just trying to ascertain that. Would you say that it's easier or harder for Brighton to become a title-winning team and better than Man City than it is for Arsenal, even though, just like your example,
it's not impossible and it can be done. It's been proven time and time again by other clubs.
So can you show me an example? Hang on. Show me an example in one of the top leagues in Europe, so the Premier League, La Liga, or Italy, where a team the size of Brighton, with their fan base and income, with their history, have overtaken one of the greatest teams in European football, and at the same time surpassed teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, all at the same time. When's that been done and maintained it?
Terry, Napoli won the title last season, yeah? And Napoli are only big in Naples, mate. Yeah, they've got the same size fan base as Brighton. Yeah, Napoli have not got a global fan base.
What? You think Napoli are the same size as Brighton? No, come on, Lee.
Terry, Napoli, I'm not being funny, Terry. Have you ever seen a Napoli fan? Ever? No. Because they're only big in Naples, with all due respect to them. They are. The same as Brighton are only big in Brighton. The same as Man City back then were only big in Manchester. Yeah. You get a global audience by being successful. Hence why every single big club on the planet has a global fan base that is huge. Name any top team, Barca, Madrid, Arsenal, Man U, yeah? It's based off of success. You can be successful, even if you're a small club. Newcastle are only big in Newcastle. They will be successful. Yeah, they will be. Why? Because they have an owner that wants to be successful. That geezer at Brighton is only there for the Premier League money, mate. Yeah, that's it.
I understand your point. Listen, Leicester are a team who went and won a Premier League and won an FA Cup as an example, and they did brilliantly. Again, I would say that Leicester have got a bigger and richer history and bigger fan base than Brighton as an example. But there's very few examples of a team like Brighton coming from where they were in the English game to where they are now and being judged solely on not knocking Man City off their perch with their resources when you capital anything else. And look, for me personally, I feel like, you know, Napoli are a pretty big team for me. I think more people around the world know, before Brighton came to the Premier League, knew who Napoli were compared to Brighton.
All these people, mate, you're trying to educate me on Maradona playing for Napoli, mate. I already know that. Yeah, I already understand that. Yeah, we've actually met the agent who transferred him, haven't we?
Yes, we did.
We have, haven't we?
We have met him.
So, my point is, you can do it. It's how much your owner wants to do it. Yeah, there's ways of doing it. Everyone's got a different way. I understand that. But Brighton can get a global audience, a massive global audience, by being successful, which means winning trophies, winning titles.
Yes. The thing is that I think what
they've been growing for 121 years and not won a major one.
But they haven't been growing for 121 years. This is the point. They haven't been growing for 121 years. For me, it's like, listen, my brother support Leyton Orient. Only once in my brother's lifetime, he's 40 odd years old now, my brother, they got an owner for a very small period of time. He started pumping money into the club to make it a big club. And after like a year, he pulled the money out and they nearly fell out of league football. They nearly went bankrupt. Leyton Orient was always a football club that just worked within its means. It was a club that has about between 4 and 6,000 fans that turn up, and probably about 20,000 fans around the world support Leyton Orient. There's a limit to how much money they can spend and how much money they can generate and how much sponsorship they get. Until they get an owner who is willing to pump millions of his own money into the club for a long period of time and grow them, it's going to take them a long time to get into the Premier League. And even if they get into it, for them to be able to then spend like Arsenal, they have got to grow a fan base. That could take you 30 to 40 years to expand that fan base, because your starting position is so far behind everybody else. Now, Chelsea and City, the advantage they had by getting their owners is Chelsea had it for longer. City only had it for about 3 or 4 years. Is FFP didn't used to exist. where owners could pump in whatever they wanted into clubs. And that's something that you disagree with. Club owners should be able to do it. So I would agree with you more if a billionaire buys a football club and he could pump in whatever he wants. They could change their fortunes quite quickly, but you are still restricted by the amount of income that you can make as a club. Now, when you're down the lower levels, it's easier because if you can pump £100 million a year in to a non-league club, that's ridiculous amounts of money at that level. But once you get to the Prem, £100 million doesn't go as far as people think it does. But listen, viewers, I want you to hit the like and share button for us. Some super chats here. First one says Leicester won Premier League and now have to sell their players.
Again,
Man won a treble and nobody talks about it. Well, that's not true, but I hear you. Did you forget Maradona played for Napoli?
No, I didn't. I told you that. I just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've completely forgot, mate. I never knew. Yeah, we never knew. Most of these people that say Maradona played for Napoli weren't even born when he played for Napoli. It's mad, isn't it?
No, mate.
Trying to educate me on Maradona playing for Napoli. Good one.
It's a madness. Listen, viewers, I want to thank you all very much for tuning into the show today. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Turn on bell notifications. Me and Lee will be back same time next week. Big Steve on tomorrow at 3:30. So make sure you're back with us then. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you.